He wants you to succeed. Have faith of a mustard seed. Get up on your feet. Rise up.
Welcome to the Drexel SEMA Show. I'm excited for my upcoming guests right now that I have on the show. As you know, the elections are on February 7th, 2025. And I'm interviewing a few candidates, and this candidate is representing the PDM party for Electoral District 7. And his name is Dr. Finbar Grant. Now, I've known Finbar for a very returned to Provo when I returned to Turks and Caicos in 1991. I met Finbar, so I've known Finbar pretty much for a very, very long time. And so I'm happy to have this opportunity for the people of Electoral District 7 to get to know more about Finbar as to why they think that they should choose him. And with that said, I want to welcome Finbar Grant to the Drexel SEMA Show.
Good morning, Drex. It's a pleasure for me to be here, to be interviewed by you. I look forward for it. You know, I've always watched your show. Sometimes we don't agree on everything, but I respect your intellect and your boldness. And like people say, I know you for a long time.
Yes.
You're the godfather to some of my kids. That's how much
right.
I trust you.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely right.
And respect you.
That's right.
You know, so we have been friends for a long time.
Yes.
That I take pleasure and I honor.
Yes, same here. Same here. A lot of people know you, but some people don't know you either. Mm-hmm. So before we get into our conversation, tell us a little bit about who is Finbar Grant. What is Finbar Grant about? What is his background? What does he do?
That's a tough question.
I thought it would be an easy question.
Who is Finbar Grant? Well, Finbar Grant is the son of Albert Grant and Marilyn Grant. A lot of people know who my father was. As a matter of fact, his name has opened a whole lot of doors for me. But I'm presently an attorney at law, practicing here at the bar in the Turks and Caicos Islands. I am some people refer to me as a scholar, but I don't place much on degrees and that sort of things. I've been to a number of schools, have a number of education spans from education, law, theology, and the like. I would like to think that I am a people's person, but not only that, I like to think that I'm a social activist. Why? Because I think that I know that I have been burdened with helping and addressing the issues of people.
Yeah.
From when I first left college, I was writing in the newspaper, expressing my views on how I see my country and how I see things and issues affecting them, and hopefully give them information to change them.
Yeah.
And that burden has continued with me.
Yes.
So some people say you're born into a thing, then I think God has placed that in me for his purpose, either to minister to his people, or ministry can be in various ways. But I think part of my purpose is to help benefit his people. Yeah. So he put that desire in me to help, put that burden on me for him. And basically that's who I am. I am one who would
bring awareness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In a nutshell.
Yes.
Finbar.
Yes. Very good. Very good. And you also are you also a pilot?
Yes, I am a pilot. As a matter of fact, that's what I desired to be.
Is that right?
From my Uncle Georgie, I've desired to be a pilot all my life. And that's the profession that I wanted to be in. I end up in law. But that's an interesting story. Why I end up in law is because when I came back from school, when I did my teacher's diploma, I started teaching, and the teachers would tell me a lot about their issues. Either my diploma or my first degree. Right. And because of the issues, and I said, listen here, we have all these problems. Why don't we collectively come together and approach the government and say we can address it? And I found myself, I traveled the island, I formed the Turks and Caicos Teachers Association. And we were able to have, I think, we had the first all-island sit-out, or strike, as you may call it, industrial action. And we were able to get some things done.
I remember that. Yeah.
And I remember that we had cousins that time. He came and he carried on bad. And he cost me. I was summoned to Grand Turk by the Attorney General. Well, not the Attorney General, the Chief Secretary at that time. And I was summoned to Grand Turk for my termination. But before I went, I had a conversation with Dr. Howell. And he said, man, you know the lawyers? And he gave me a copy of the label.
Conrad Howell?
Dr. Conrad Howell. He gave me a copy of the label on the Constitution. I read it on my plane to Grand Turk. He said, these people can't fire me. And when they started reading me the act and I read them, my lord, what I had just read, they backed down. And I say, whoa, if I'm going to continue this work in terms of unionization, putting power back in the hand of people, I need to educate myself.
Yeah.
So I went to law school specifically to learn about labor law.
So something good came out of that.
So something good came. But my desire was always been to be a pilot.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. It's amazing how God set people up sometimes. You know what I mean? It's not your intent, but things happen that force you to do something else.
Exactly.
And you really find, oh, this is my passion. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. So you now have decided to run for the PDM party as in the constituency of Electoral 7. Why did you? I listen to your shows sometimes. Of course, like you don't agree with me all the time. I agree with all your stuff sometimes. But why did you choose? Because I knew you in the past. You tried to get involved in politics on both PNP and PDM tickets in the past, I believe. But why did you decide to join the PDM party? Why didn't you just run as an independent candidate?
All right. Let's address the past first. I have, we've always been politically minded. Me, you and Bradley used to sit together. It was always my desire that one day I'll be running the party with me, you and Bradley, because we were always connected and always arguing politics.
Yes.
The thing with me with politics, I first decided to run way back then. I think I contested the
Blue Hills?
No, Leeward. And
Leeward?
I ran against Gilly. I ran on the PDM ticket.
You did?
I did. I ran way back then. I ran against Gilly.
Cheshire Hall.
Cheshire Hall. Gilly was the incumbent minister at the time. And I think I got into a race about two months prior to election. Because like this time, I got a call.
You were a candidate in the election?
I was a candidate. I got a call. And I came in about 2 months before the election. So I was PDM, I ran on a PDM ticket. Now people have always thought I was a PNP because of my associations.
Yeah, and your dad also ran for the PNP.
There came a point at one time, I think before the previous elections, that I considered and I drafted up an application, but then I withdrew my application. To the PNP, I withdrew my application. I never stood. I never was considered for a candidacy. But in terms of political parties, I've kind of associated more with a PDM message. But mind you, I was one that spread the message of you are Turks and Caicos Islander first. You have freedom to associate, but your mindset shouldn't be party. It should be idea. People. Exactly. And because you have some people who are so deep within a party that they disregard country.
Right.
So they're more to the party instead of the country.
Yeah.
Now, a person is supposed to more or less bring personality or identity to their party. But here we have people having their parties bring personality and identity to them. And, instead of you defining your party end up defining you.
True.
Which is wrong.
Yeah.
I had a conversation. I'm sorry, I'm straying.
No. This is.
I had a conversation yesterday with an individual in Q Town. I was a follow up. He was PNP, and he's telling me that, man, I know my MP didn't do anything. Man, look, you see, but here was the message to him: say, man, I know I didn't do anything, but you got to vote for me because we don't want the party lose. So his idea is that I know my MP didn't address none of my issues, but he telling me I got to vote because of the party. So what is that saying? Is the party more important to you than actually having someone or having your issues met? That's what I'm saying. We let our parties define us instead of defining our parties. We are supposed to bring ideologies and ideas and things to our party, not our party feed it to us. We affiliate and form a party so that our ideas we think that maybe better a country would have some strength in that unity. So when we begin to disregard the benefits of the country, we have different ideas what benefits. Disregards what may be beneficial to the country and who may be good because of just the party name itself, then we have a problem.
We have a problem.
We have a problem.
Yeah. But I know you say you line up more with the PDM message. But as far as I'm concerned, as an outsider, even though people have labeled me as a PNP,
Oh, we'll be labeled.
I don't see a difference between the PNP and PDM. Of course, I believe in the early 70s, when the 76, 75, when the PDM was founded by J.X. McCartney and a group of other people, there was a strong message. There was a clear distinction between the PNP and the PNO at that time. I don't see it. Even if you look at the manifestos, it's basically the same thing. It's basically the same thing. And so it's curious that you say their message, because as far as I'm concerned, the messages are basically the same. Now, I know I listen to your shows, and that's why I was very surprised that you running on a party ticket, because I thought you was more someone
in the middle who ended.
And so that's why I want to know why you decided. Yeah, why didn't you run as an independent candidate?
You're right in one and that, but I seem to be independent because, like I said, I wouldn't have a party define me. I would define the party, and whether my views that I expressed are not necessarily the views of a party, but they came out of my own experience and what I see.
Right.
So I wouldn't not address the issue or address the issue because my party says so. So in terms of that, all of the stuff that I've done in Rumbling, they were independent.
Yeah.
Devoid of a party.
And even before you decided to join as a candidate.
Even before I decided to join as a candidate, and even as I go forward, they're devoid of party influences. They come out of my own scenes, my own interactions, and
what people told you, their experiences.
Why I decided to run? You see, leading up to this elections, I had made up my when they had gotten rid of the appointed
members.
Something I didn't agree with, and I was asking.
I didn't agree with that either. Yeah,
I was asking folks, put your name up as an independent person, so we can have that independent view, and the House would be lost because of that. And I had decided, say, boy, if nobody put my name up, I'm going to put my action is. I'm said it. I'm going to do it. So I had formed in my mind that I would have
run as an independent.
And then I got a call. And say would I be interested, and now before I got this call, I had
submitted your name.
I had spoken to a prophet had spoken a while back, and he was telling me some stuff, and one of the things he told me, and there was he was here, and he told me that I will receive this call, and we spoke about it. And then after I got the call, I was still somewhat, because they were talking to somebody else, I was still somewhat...
confirmed. You wasn't confirmed.
And then I went to a local church, and this pastor said, God said, just do it.
Okay.
I said, what do you mean
that was
just
a
do
confirmation for you.
Yeah. So what do you mean just... So I knew exactly what he was speaking about. So that confirmed it to me. Well, the church, the pastor did, and then... somebody else getting this sick, God said, just do it. He brought you to this. Because even...
So that means means you're going to win then because God say do it.
It might be for the experience. So
okay.
Well, we'll get into that later.
Okay.
Because I would have, even submit my name, I would have never chosen Cheshire Hall.
I know, because I was wondering about why you chose Cheshire Hall, and I understand.
I would have chosen an at-large or Blue Hills.
Right.
Because that's what I'm saying. I would have never chosen Josiah Hall. So I'm here thinking, God, you bring me to the biggest constituency. I know you used to live here. And what are you saying? I know I would maybe have an easier time in
Blue Hills.
Blue Hills, because I lived there. And those were my people. I grew up with them. Or All Island, because a lot of people know me. They recognize me. Not me myself, but even my father. We know how we vote.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Cheshire Hall. This is the biggest constituency, very diverse. Why here? But then he began to put things in place.
Right.
I have a campaign manager that I know was sent to assist me. And the pieces just start falling into place.
Awesome.
I'm still amazed at how it's beginning to fall into place. Whether I win or lose, well, I know what he said to me, whether I win or lose. I know this is a base for me to prepare from.
Yeah.
And I know it's his will, because things, even though you may have some adversity, things begin to fall in place. People begin to fall in place. Relationships were built that led up to this. And I'm just sitting back saying, well, yeah, you say go and do it. And he made sure that I had the people in place to do it. I mean, politics is about, campaign is about funds. I mean,
it's a major part.
It's a major part. We basically had no funds. And I just have been seeing things work. So I'm sitting back and say, yeah, you brought me here. It looked like you can bring me through it. Then I know what my responsibility is. But I got to first be responsible to him. And I know that if he put me in a place, and he put me in a place of leadership for his people, that I'm first responsible to him for how I deal with his people.
Okay.
You know, so I'm still in awe.
All right. That's awesome. Things are working in place. Now, one of the things I find very challenging of being observed on the outside, on all successive governments, is that there seems to be a lack of work being done from a constituency level. We have a lot of people who are representatives of the constituency, but they're also ministers. And I always have the view that we should have like a local government or constituency offices with full-time people, because we focus so much on doing stuff generally, which is good for the country. A lot of the constituencies are lacking a lot of attention. What sort of change would you bring about to change those things if you become successful?
Well, Drax, that's amazing, because that's one of the things that I'm running on.
Oh, okay.
That's part of my platform. You're quite right. The constituencies get left out, and these are the people that actually employ the person they send to Parliament. And they send them to Parliament primarily because they believe that there'll be a voice of action to take care of their concerns. Some of them go to Parliament, become ministers, and they forget the people who send them there. You know,
some don't forget. You know,
no, some
are just overwhelmed. No, some are overwhelmed, and they're so tied up with their ministry.
I don't think it's been overwhelmed, because even if you take a day, a month out. But here's what at
least a day, a week they should set aside.
Here's what I intend to do. Now, Parliament, well, those constituency-based, they receive an allowance for their constituency. My plan is, if I win the constituency, to set up a constituency council. The money that ought to come to me for the benefit of the constituency allowance, it goes directly to the council. I just want to see it. That's their budget.
Do you know how much it is? Is it $1,200? No.
A month? I don't know how much it is. I think it's 70 to 60 something a year. I don't know how much it is, but whatever it is, that's there to handle with. Okay, because build a council, people who are strategic within the community, and they're living there. They know what's going on, so they know what their issues are, and they use that fund to try to alleviate things for them. Bigger matters that they require government input on and more money in, then I will be a part of the meetings probably on a monthly basis. And from that meeting, then I know what they need that I can take to Parliament and advocate on their behalf. Even if a minister, I will have that still connection, because I'll have the constituency council. They will have the constituency council.
That will help you out a lot.
Exactly. So through them, I will be there, and through them, I will have the ear of the constituency. And so if the constituency needs something, then I'll bring it to my government, or if not in government and opposition, then I can table a private member's bill to try to get it done. Because I don't think any government, say for instance, I'm in opposition, I need roads because they're derelict. I don't think a sitting government, if I bring the plan, say this is the plan, this is the budget, this is my people, I don't think they would turn it down, but hopefully not, because of politics. So having that council in place, that looks specifically over it, and having to be a part of the meetings, even if they meet 3 or 4 times a month, but at least sit in one of the meetings each month.
I agree.
Then you have the connection, and you get your instructions from your employees.
I agree.
That's what I intend to do.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. I know, like in South Caicos, they have the district commissioner. In North Caicos, they have district commissioner. Salt Cay, they have district commissioner. So I was thinking that each island should have something, and you allocate so much funds to each island, and these are the different projects that we can do. That's what I was thinking. Now, tell us, what are your plans for ED7?
ED7 specifically.
Yes.
Well, ED7 is big. Diverse.
It is.
So, you have three sets of people, I would think, in three sets of need, but generally we have some needs in common. Infrastructure, for instance. Well, people, they say they don't run on roads, we drive on them. But go to Q-Town, infrastructure is a mess that hasn't been touched for years. They need roads, dockyard, even parts of Discovery Bay, and further
You
out.
mean pavement? They need to be paved.
Yeah, they need to be paved, repaved, because some of them are a mess. Dockyard need a whole new paving. Sidewalks. I mean, they seem like basic things, but they're essential and they make the people's life more comfortable. Sidewalks. Discovery Bay, they do a lot of walking. People walk their dogs and stuff. You have basically no room, even in Q-Town. Sidewalks. Lights. We have an issue with crime. Lights in the district, I mean, properly lighted, more CCTV might act as a deterrent. Infrastructure-wise, the PDM is running on a platform on which the government intend to put bases or stations back within each community. So not only having a physical building that is staffed by police officers there, but part of my thing is to also have the police interact with the community. I mean, putting a building there is one thing, but having enough officers so you can do foot patrol is another thing. It builds relationships, and through relationships you get more information and you have a constant presence which may act as a further deterrent for crime. That is something that I desire to do. I know in Q-Town they started the park, but that has been left. Well, they put some curry on it because politics is coming. You know how we like to trick the people, not me. But having proper recreation facilities is a must. But further than that, we need to address some of the issues that the country have that it would also affect the community. The cost of living would affect each and every citizen.
Yeah.
Throughout.
I mean, residents.
People talked about cost control. I'm a big advocate of cost control, and I think it can be done. And it takes rocket science.
Not on everything, but
not on. That's what I'm saying. Not on everything, but on essential breadbasket items, which will lower the cost of living. Not only that, but we need to start looking at feeding ourselves. We have some small farmers, but with the right, I think, support, money, then we can build them to a point where they can supply us nationally through the trucks and cakes. Some big farms, machinery, give them the know-how to do that. Not only with growing food, but with animal husbandry. A chicken farm is pretty easy to put up and build it. Just take the financing and the backing, and then you have government support, like in terms of you producing this as a quality. The markets have to get it. If not, then you add a tariff on the imports. If you want the imported stuff, you pay more for it, but you give the people a choice.
So it lessens. So it will force us to buy locally,
and it would lessen support the farmers.
If those tariffs are high for those things that produce locally.
Lessen the cost of living. We have an issue with housing, specifically in that Q-Town, I know definitely, and the availability of land. We had this lottery system, but that needs to be changed so that trucks and cakes islands can have access to it. Not only have access to it, but I think this government, as part of its manifesto, has want to do a housing plan for low-cost housing. But we have some people in the district that had government land, had leased on government land, but for some reason, some of them applied, but never was able to get freehold. And now we know the price has some triple and four times the value.
The valuation has gone up.
And so they now want to charge them the current valuation. I mean, if you couldn't afford it back then and you try, then we should at least try to alleviate them. And these are persons who have already made substantial developments, where they raise their home. So taking care of that, trying to get titles sorted out, is also big with me. We look at equality in the labor market, not only equality, equality in terms of opportunities and employment and in pay throughout the constituency and throughout the islands, as a matter of fact. That would have impacted the constituency, because we have a lot of we have a lot of people, say, for instance, in the tourist industry. Unfortunately, we seem to have more work permit holders than locals. There seems to be a preference for work permit holders because the
I'm not sure there's a preference. I just think that we've grown so much that we do need outside workers. Let's face that. That's the reality.
Two things I'm going to disagree with you in terms of the preference, but I'm going to agree with you on the growth. Here's what I say.
There's not enough of us here, though, so we need to bring people in.
I know, I'm going to address it. When I say a preference, if you have a local and a work permit holder, more than likely the work permit holder will get the post.
What do you mean from that point of view?
From that point of view.
Okay.
Why? Because the employer holds the work permit over their head. And these are employees, they're not going to get in trouble with you. They're not going to unionize. They're not going to do, because they're looking at preserving that work permit. Now, a local might say, listen, you need to pay me this an hour, you need to do that an hour, I'm a unionized. So from a standpoint of controlling, they prefer the expert. And also from a standpoint of payment, they prefer the expert. I do agree with you that we need workers to come in, but I think our workers should be given preference, and then when we need more, we bring in.
We should always be given preference.
And the thing about growth, I think we didn't manage it. We have grown or developed for development's sake without bringing the people along. Here's why I say that. A few years ago, we were the Mecca of the Caribbean. Even Cayman desired to be like us. We were a high-end destination. We were attracting a very good clientele. But now we have allowed ourselves to grow. All types of hotels, everything is here now.
But the hotels are still high-end, you know. A lot of us are now building villas.
No, I'm agreeing.
And so we're attracting other classes of people too.
But that's the thing. We're attracting other classes of people, yes. We're kind of lower our product, yes. But the thing about sustainable development, when you develop a country, you primarily first look at the needs of the country and the needs of
and
the
benefits, yeah.
Exactly. So if you're going to be developing just for the sake of developing, that your people, that you have to bring in others, right? Who are you really developing for?
Right.
All right. If you at a state where you at a point where everybody can get a job, and I think we're at that point. We are at the point where everybody can get a job. You start managing things slowly because you don't want to cheapen your product. You manage things slowly, and you may still grow, but you police it, and there will be less need to bring in all of this. But as a matter of fact, we just like a workplace for the rest of the Caribbean. Here's Turks and Caicos Islands. We can go there, make some money, ship home because there ain't anybody. Yeah. We just let it get ahead of us. Yeah. Surprisingly, I spoke with a developer, and when I gave him my view, I expected some pushback. Right. And he was of the same opinion. That surprised me, but
I agree with you with that, the development. I do agree with you. What's the point of development if you're not, I agree with you.
And that's supposed to be for your people.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you.
You have not to take it out of hand.
But I also think that a lot of us, as Turks and Caicos Islanders, which we need to encourage entrepreneurship. We don't need to be encouraging employees. And there are a lot of opportunities for us to become entrepreneurs. Some of us are afraid to take the risk. We should be the employers employing people. And I think that's something that we're missing, that we need to grow more on, is to foster and encourage more entrepreneurship.
I agree with you. And that is also something that the PDM has in the manifesto that they want to do. Not only fostering and growing entrepreneurship, two things. Trade school, definitely going to be built. The last time the PDM was in power, they had actually purchased the building and began to outfit it. But the other government came in and that plan was scrapped. So the plan is to do that. You create skilled people. But further, a business developing unit, you have some skills you want to develop with it, you go and you get advice.
That's something Investors has that.
Yeah, something that I was just going to tell you, something like Investors.
If they have a team, I interviewed them on Financially Speaking. In fact, they've grown. They have everything anyone needs for their business.
So you go in, you talk to them, you get a business plan created.
They do that.
Get a business
and they pay for it. You don't have to pay for it anymore.
That's what I'm talking about. But the budget that this administration is going to be, I think you limit to some $10,000 for TCMS. We're looking at way more than that. Because $10,000.
It's $10,000 cash.
Yeah, that's what.
And then you get $10,000 and duty, and then $5,000 tax support. Yeah. The idea, honestly though, is not a lot. But the idea is not to fully provide funds for everyone. People also have to take responsibility they have to come with some cash on their own as well. It's not to fully fund someone.
I agree with you, but we need to fund them
Maybe 10,000 need to be increased to maybe
we
20.
need to fund them adequately so they can
Yeah.
actually get up off the ground.
Yeah.
Because once they have everything to put in the basics, then they can start operating. Then they're responsible for growing their
Yeah.
business or making sure that their heads are overcovered. And that, because even if we give a man $100,000 and his business, he can need like say $40,000-$50,000 operating costs, and he squandered this,
Yeah.
then that's on him.
I just think a lot of us need to take more risks. We really need to take more risks, honestly. I mean, I started my business with very little as nothing. I'm okay now. A lot of us start taking business, but at some point, I say Honorable Finbar, I mean,
Predict,
Finbar,
speak the word, put it in the atmosphere, let it flow, let it flow.
we
let it
also
flow.
have to expect government to give us
do
everything for us.
I agree with
We can't.
you. Government should
And
give
government
us,
should not give everything.
government should give us everything.
Invest TCI, right now, their budget, I interviewed them on Financially Speaking, $1.2 million is allocated every year for the MSME. And then apparently they had another supplementary budget of $1 million just for the fisheries department. So it's $1.2 million every year, and it has been exhausted. So it's there, and yes, we may have to look at the amount, but more of us need to get involved. More of us
I
need to
agree
get
with you.
involved.
I have my doubts about the MSMNE program, but
They're doing really well.
I agree with you that, and that's what the PDM going to do. There needs to be a whole lot more money allocated to that.
Okay.
Because if we want our people to be entrepreneurs, then we have to really give them the building blocks
Okay.
to do that. And not only that, give them the support once their business up and
Yeah,
running.
the support is there. I can guarantee you that.
You know,
And
give them the support, give them the marketplace.
Invest TCI now has 21 employees. We had them on our show, and they have the support from business plan. After you're in business, they will guide you.
Yeah,
They have a mentorship program for business people. They're doing really well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Not only that support, but from a government perspective,
Yeah.
in terms of policy initiatives, give them that support.
Oh,
Not
you
if
mean in
they're
terms of
producing-
reserve category?
Exactly.
I
Not
got
only
you.
that, and if they're producing something, they're producing it very well.
To use
You know,
them as clients?
Yes.
Okay, no, that's fair. Now, in addition to 87, what other objectives you have as a member of in addition to satisfying the needs of the constituents in 87, what other objectives do you have as a member of Parliament?
My primary objective, in which all things will flow, is to better the lives of my people in my country.
Okay,
And when I'm called upon to make a decision or to vote, that is going to be my primary objective.
Okay.
Does this benefit my country?
Right.
Does this benefit my people?
right.
Everything, if it lines up with that,
That's how it should be. You're absolutely
Then I'm
right.
forward.
You're absolutely right. Now, if the PDM becomes successful, right, and say you become a minister, and I don't know if you've heard about how cabinet works, where they use this word consensus. And I've spoken to individuals. I have friends, despite what people think about me. I have friends and family. I have friends, family, and clients on both sides of the PDM and PDM.
so do I.
And when you hear some of the challenges that they have in cabinet, because there must be a consensus, there may be some things they put forward, but because there was not everybody on their party agreed, but the non-elected officials in Parliament in cabinet didn't agree, so it didn't get forward because there's not a consensus.
But in
That's a
cabinet,
challenge.
in cabinet, you mean the non-elected officials?
Yes, they're part of the consensus, my understanding.
Here's the thing about the non-elected officials. I mean, that's going to change. You have the Attorney General, and you have the governor that has a voice.
And the Deputy General as well.
And
The Deputy Governor.
Well, if she substitutes for the governor,
No, she's part of the cabinet.
they have a vote and a voice. Now,
They don't normally vote, they say, but they do have a.
no, they do, and the governor has this overriding power, which is. But here's how it goes: if the cabinet makes a decision and there's a majority, then that decision flows. Normally, the governor will not go against it, but if she goes against that decision, then that has to come from the Secretary of
But
State.
it's not majority in cabinet, it's consensus. Consensus means everybody.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
It's not majority. I think it should be majority. I think if majority of elected officials agree to a policy or a proposed bill before it gets out of assembly, it should be going forward.
Here's why I say
consensus. It's not majority.
Here's what I say the majority, because you can have people who can disagree, but if you have the majority, then they call it a consensus. And and usually when you reach that point, the bill or the policy, is they start working to draft it to make it to send it to the House for consensus. Now, usually the governor goes ahead with it, but if the governor opposes it, and she can, then it has to go back to the, if I'm remembering the law, to the Secretary of State. And there have to be good reasons why you oppose, but there's also an appeals process. I don't
know if anybody has used it, but let me give you an example. For example, sources, of course they say when you're in cabinet, you can't say what happens in cabinet. It's like a lodge. For example, you notice recently, whenever policies or decisions are made, it includes Turks and Caicos Islanders and British Overseas Territory citizens. It's my view that it should only be for Turks and Caicos Islanders. But in order for it to get passed in cabinet, the governor at that time insisted that they included BOTC. For example, the tuition at college is free. It's free to Turks and Caicos Islanders and BOTC. And so the stimulus is for Turks and Caicos Islanders, BOTC. So the elected officials just say Turks and Caicos Islanders. The government say, wait, we got to include it. And so in order for it to get consensus, they have to include BOTC. So that's some of the challenges we face.
If I was in government at that time, and I think it's only for my people, then I would have fight that. I'd have made them take it to
Secretary of State.
Secretary of State. Even take a visit over there if I need to embarrass the British government into acting, then you embarrass them into acting. Our problem is that we are a pushover. We don't really fight.
Okay. We just
see what happened in the Bahamas the other day when the dude take the mints and throw it out the window, thing shut down. We haven't reached that since Jags. We haven't reached that point where we say at all costs. And I think it costs us. We are good. We are not. But sometimes you just got to crush those eggs if you want the omelet.
So that's what you would do.
That's what I would do.
If you believe in something, you're not going to.
If I believe in, yes, I'm not going to roll.
You're not going to compromise. You will take it to the Secretary of State.
Depends on the level of compromise. But if it's going to, depends on the level of compromise. But I would force their hand.
Okay.
I would force their hand. See how far they want to go with it. And they want me to embarrass them internationally. And sometimes you got to play those cards because they play those cards. The British are expert at diplomacy. And sometimes they don't want to come off as being rough or a colonizer. And sometimes you have to put them in that position because they make decisions as colonizers.
Yeah. Okay.
So we got to fight. If we believe in something, we want it, then we make it happen.
Right.
The other day we had an issue with the governor in terms of crime, but I haven't hold. I'm saying we pay her. I wouldn't pay her. Let her go to the Secretary of State and say these people force it in Parliament. But at least my people know that, listen, I'm disqualified with your service. I'm not paying your bill. Go to the British government. Come bring an act in Parliament. Force me to pay you. And then the Secretary can say, but why have we come to this point?
Are you saying because the crime hasn't been resolved?
Crime will never be resolved. I don't think it has been adequately.
No, why do you think we shouldn't pay her? Because she's not.
She has not adequately, I'm using that as an example, has not adequately addressed it. The Prime Minister is always calling on her, which I think is just a cop-out. Personally, I think it's a cop-out because we can do more. We should have been doing more. We control the checkbook. We can.
But all successful governments have said that whatever the police, you have a commission, you have an executive. You have an executive team. They're the managers. For example, I used to be a seal for Cape Wireless. I hear the needs of the customers. I put together my proposal, send it to the board of Cape Wireless. This is what I need. You have an executive team of the police, who's headed by the police commissioner. They work together. They set what the requirements are. They send it to the government. And all successful governments, no matter which party in power, they have said that they have provided everything that they asked for.
Two things I'm going to say to you. Politics is about deception, and not all governments are truthful. I have some insight into the police. And I will tell you that is not true. I don't like to be a big conspiracy theorist, but some things you really have to look at. The last commissioner, for instance, Mr. White guy,
What's his
they
name?
had,
I can't remember.
the government had asked, listen here, things that are going on, we need some more manpower. Now you can tell me that as the commissioner, you can say you have enough men. I mean, that's what I'm saying. We're
But
the
then
government.
that example you're giving is not the government. It's the commissioner.
No, but the government, you saying the government said they provide everything that
They asked for.
You live here. You're sitting in Parliament. You live here. You know what's going on. You can see the lack within your force. Your commissioner telling you that, there's only 2 cars up and running. Your commissioner tell you that we have enough vehicles. There's not enough in the districts. And you must accept that. Districts, put them to use. You don't have enough adequate manpower. I need to have my community safe. I want to see men on the street. I want to see foot patrol program. This is the budget. These are the police.
And they got the budget. And they got the budget.
Then
we need to make sure the budget is
spent. These are the police
spent.
that are hired. Exactly. These are the police that you're hired. You go back to them in a few months, show me your program. We don't govern by absenteeism. Or we don't leave things for others to control. My problem, if you live in a place and you're responsible for the people, and like you're living in the UK and you imagining what is happening here, but you hear and you have the power
it's a smaller
to do
community.
things, then you do it. How is even if he said that the commissioner is directly answerable to the government, how is the commissioner not going to answer as the hired politician for your people?
So we need to change that.
Even if it's still written that way, how is he coming to tell you no? Sometimes we have to be forceful. We have to bring people to account. And I think we play this diplomacy game with experts to our detriment.
Okay.
If our people need it, then they get it.
Well, I mean, even if it's written, then it can be changed because you're legislators.
Exactly.
So if that's because most people want to follow the law, especially with all this entire commission stuff in place. But if you feel that the policy is not working, for example, reporting to the governor, then let's change it. Let's change the policy.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, I think we've come to the end of this this interview. I really enjoyed this conversation. I want you to camera, and I want you to tell the people of ED7 why they should vote for you and why they should vote for the PDM.
Okay. People of ED7, I think you should vote for me, Dr. Finbar Grant, on these upcoming elections because I will be an advocate. I will be a voice for you. I will be your change. I'm not going to come and make you empty promises, but I have a passion for the development of my country and my people. And you can be assured that whatever you sent me to Parliament to get achieved, I will do my best to achieve it. Evaluate me, evaluate my record, look at my history. You will see that I'm not in this for power or for self-gain, but there has been a passion that has birthed in me for the advancement of my people. If my people in my country advance, I am advanced. That is why I'm in it. I will be your voice, be your advocate. I will put the power back into your hands. So if you want real representation, I might be a little coarse, but if you want real representation without all the diplomacy, then I think I will ask you to vote for me. You're giving the other man a chance. You see what he has done or what he has not done. Give me an opportunity, and if at the end of 5 years now, I haven't proven myself, then you get rid of me. As a matter of fact, before 5 years, give me a year and a half of you to think I'm doing the things that you sent me to Parliament to do, call for my resignation, and as one who always advocates that you can fire a parliamentarian before 4 years, I will leave. Just come to a conclusion, tell my leader you don't want me, and I will gladly give up my if you think I'm not doing the job. And that I will stand by. Voting for the PDM, have you had, well, I don't know if everybody had an opportunity to view their manifesto, but you've listened to the rallies, you've seen the issues that they want to address. And they are from a Trucks Islanders first perspective. They're looking at crime, they're looking at creating business opportunities, changing the laws in regards of employment, creating ventures for new business, supporting our farmers in those sort of good housing program. If you look at those are needs that our countries need right now. I think we're at a point, this is a very critical election. I know you hear that every election cycle, but I do believe this one is very critical. We have lived through the last 4 years. I will not use political jargon and say suffered, but we all know how things have improved or did not improve. I think the crew that the PDM, the state of candidates, I personally know them, and the messages and the policies that they want to enforce, I think will better your lives and better your country. And on those grounds, I think you ought to give them an opportunity to govern.
Thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you,
Dr. Finbar.